Hey everyone, so this is my review of Inhumans, Season 1, Episode 1, called Behold the Inhumans. And essentially what this first episode is about is that there's a lot of tension around and inside of the royal family and what they should do with their lives. And this was a really entertaining and really interesting episode that I understood a lot that there wasn't going to be a lot to this episode because the Inhumans are a very complicated thing to understand, so a lot of this episode I knew going in was going to be dedicated to just explaining them and explaining like their lifestyle and setting all that stuff up, and that is essentially what happened. So I'm really kind of okay with that because I knew that that was what it was going to be. And I did really kind of enjoy how they did sort of introduce and show off a bit of each of the members of the royal family. I wish some of them would have gotten a bit more highlight than others did, because a lot of it sort of mainly focused on the main three of Black Bolt, Medusa, and Maximus, and really didn't do anything with Crystal or the other two. So that was a little disappointing that all of them didn't really get that much of a spot in the light, especially Crystal, because Crystal in my mind is the most powerful of them all, because she has the power to control all four of the elements. And they didn't really show that. They showed her like playing with a bit of ice, and then she like started to show a bit of fire, but then was sort of cut off. So I'm a little disappointed that they didn't get to show really any of her and what she can do. And I did enjoy that they did do a bit of explaining of like the Terrigenesis and doing a bit of that stuff, even though it was a bit different than how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has done Terrigenesis, where in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. like everyone has been like turned into rock, and then like they hatch from this rock form and stuff like that, where in this world it was sort of like instantaneous, which yes, I can kind of be okay with because they understand Terrigenesis a bit more, so maybe they've evolved it to make it easier. So if they do explain that in the future, that will be fine. And yes, I can understand some of the people's disagreements with this whole series, especially from it being on like a movie standpoint, where the first two episodes were shown in theaters and stuff like that. And yes, this would have been a terrible thing to show in movies because it just doesn't transfer that well. But in my opinion, on the smaller screen, it worked a lot better and I enjoyed it a lot. So I'm not disappointed in it as much as everyone else seems to be. And it was very interesting how they decided to play off and do like the whole relationship between Black Bolt, Medusa, and Maximus, and the three of them, and how all that interconnecting and all that worked. Where they did bring up a bit about how Maximus is in love with Medusa as well as Black Bolt. So that was interesting that they did do it, but I wish they would have done it a bit better than they did, where it just seemed like Maximus was really kind of creepy, and that was a bit off-putting, because yes, it kind of works for his character, but it seemed like they were making like that be like his only personality trait, which I didn't much care for, because there is a bit more to that character, and his jealousy and his hatred to his brother, which yes, they did show, but it just didn't transfer that well in my opinion. Then the ending of this episode was really kind of weird and felt really kind of rushed, where it was a lot of them getting all of the royal family sort of off of Atlantean and onto Earth and stuff like that. So that was really kind of weird because like who they picked and choose to show getting off of Earth when and stuff like that just felt really kind of odd with how it showed each of them. And then it felt really kind of rushed because all of a sudden Maximus was kind of like, screw it, I'm just gonna take over now. And like how he went about doing that was just really kind of weird and rushed. And then the fact that it seemed like Maximus had like people who were working for him down on Earth was also weird, because he seemed so disconnected to what was actually going on down on Earth. So for him to have people that he knew and would do his bidding was kind of weird how all that transferred over. So, like I said, I think that was just a rush job of them being like, oh, we need someone to keep the people who are already on Earth, instead of going back to Atlantean to realize what's going on and stuff like that. So that was just weird of an ending, but I guess I could kind of understand it from it being a midpoint, because originally the first and second episode were supposed to be sort of connected together to make it into this movie that they showed on at theaters and stuff. So hopefully, like I said, that's just what it was meant to be, is that it was meant to be some sort of midpoint, and then all of the second episodes sort of resolving a lot of those issues I had with the ending of the first episode. And then the part with Medusa at the end was really kind of interesting, and I hope that they do pick up and they do fix some things with that, and use some of the stuff with that for an advantage. Because a part of what they do with Medusa's hair in the comics is that if it's cut or if it's shaved off like it was in this episode, she can still control the hair for a certain amount of time. So hopefully, like I said, that will come into play, that maybe even though she's on Earth, she can still control her hair back on Atlantean, and maybe use that to sort of mess with people. If they do that, I will be very impressed and very happy with. But I do have to say, overall, this was a really interesting and really kind of great first episode for introducing the Inhumans to everyone. Because, like I said, that was a really complicated thing to do, because not a lot of people care about or know about the Inhumans. So a lot of this episode was dedicated to them introducing everything. So that I'm very happy with, that they did do that job and not just kind of throw everyone into the bus of this. And just, it was great, and I really hope that it does continue on with a good enough story for me to continue watching it. So, yeah, that's my review of the Inhumans. Season 1, Episode 1, called Behold the Inhumans. So, yeah.